The Book of Enoch is perhaps the most controversial book that didn't make it into the Christian Bible, and it contains all kinds of unusual facts. For example, did you know that the Book of Enoch taught that the fallen angels taught women how to use eyeliner and eyeshadow, or that it reveals the name of the 7 archangels and the 20 princes of the fallen angels, the demons? Or that these fallen angels had sexual intercourse with human women and had gigantic babies called Nephilim? Or that in the underworld, down in hell, there are 4 hollowed out places for 4 different kinds of people who have died? That's right. Today, we're going to go through 10 of these shocking, weird, fantastic facts that are in the Book of Enoch. And stay to the end, because I'll reveal to you what the Book of Enoch says about the enormous height of these demonic babies sired by angels and born of women. They make LeBron James look really tiny. Fact number 1. The Book of Enoch presents 200 and exactly 200 angels called watcher angels, or in Greek, egregoroi. And they are appointed by God to watch over, guide, and tutor humans. However, these 200 watcher angels take wives. They lust after women. They take human wives, and they cause these women to conceive half-breed, gigantic children called the Nephilim. Interesting fact number 2. The leader of these 200 watcher angels that have sexual relations with women, his name is Shem Yaza, or Sam Yaza, or in Greek, Semi Aza, or sometimes you see Semi Jaza. It's the name in Hebrew that can either mean gazer at the heaven, gazer from heaven, or gazer of the name, as in the name of God. And what's interesting about this is he's not Satan. He's a different demon who leads the guardian angels into having sexual intercourse with human women. And what's even more interesting is this leader, Shem Yaza, is worried that the other 199 angels aren't going to go through with the deed. They're afraid to sin against God. And so he leads them to make vows, oaths, to commit this sin. Here's what the Book of Enoch says. Quote, "I fear you will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin." And they all answered him and said, "Let us all swear an oath and bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing." And so they all swear on Mount Hermon, we are going to go and seduce women and have babies with them. Fact number 3. So the 200 watcher angels go down, they seduce human women, and they have babies with them. And this all happens during the time of the patriarch in the Bible named Jared. Jared is the actual father of Enoch, who allegedly wrote this book. And you can learn about Jared in Genesis 5:18. He lived to be 962 years. And at this time, quote, this is in 1 Enoch, "And there was great impiety and much fornication, and they went astray, and all their ways became corrupt." And this sexual immorality led by the angels and these giant babies is the cause, according to Enoch, for the flood that comes down upon the earth in the time of Noah. Fact number 4. One of the 200 fallen angels that seduces women is named Azazel. Azazel, also in Scripture, is known as the scapegoat. And he is a demon who taught humans metallurgy, taught them how to make weapons like swords, spears, shields, and also taught women how to take pigments and to color their face, their cheeks, their eyes, their eyelids, eyeliner, everything. So there's this one demon who's pointed out specifically for corrupting men for war and women for seduction. Shocking fact number 5. God commands Saint Michael the Archangel, who appears in the Old Testament and in the New Testament and in the book of Revelation, to go and bind up, to arrest the 200 fallen watcher angels and place them deep into the earth. Quote, And the Lord said unto Michael, go bind Semyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women so as to have defiled themselves with them in their uncleanliness. And when the sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire. So this time period of 70 generations seems to be in Enoch, the time period between the fall of the angels and the birth of the Nephilim giant children, and then the coming of the flood of Noah. All right, those are our first 5 interesting facts about the Book of Enoch. If you're learning a lot and enjoying it, please consider liking this video and consider subscribing and hitting the bell. All right, let's keep going. Number 6, the role of Enoch as a person. According to the Book of Enoch, Enoch was chosen by God to receive special visions and prophecies about the end of the world. Christians have been puzzled for hundreds of years by the fact that the apostle Jude, Saint Jude, one of the 12 apostles, quoted the text Enoch in the New Testament. So in Jude chapter 1, verse 14, he says, quote, and Enoch also, the 7th from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints. So clearly, Jude, one of the apostles, believed in the Book of Enoch. And this is why it's so controversial. It never made it into the New Testament, and it was lost until 1773, when the famous explorer James Bruce returned from Ethiopia with 3 copies of the Book of Enoch. Soon after that, scholars began to realize that this was the Book of Enoch that was cited by Jude in the New Testament, word for word, and that it's talking about fallen angels having sex with women, giving birth to giants called Nephilim. And suddenly, certain details in the book of Jude, in 2 Peter, in the book of Wisdom, in the book of Ecclesiasticus, talking about giants in the time of the flood, all started to come together. This ancient legend that was Jewish is preserved in the book of Enoch and is alluded to by Saint Jude. Fun fact number 7. Enoch reveals that God desires a solar calendar and not a lunar calendar. If you know anything about Judaism or the Old Testament, you know that in the Old Testament, according to Moses, the calendar of the Jews goes on the pattern of the moon. For example, they calculate the date of Passover based on the moons, and all the feast days of the Jews are based on the lunar cycle. Enoch, however, in the book of Enoch, promotes a solar calendar. What's also notable is the book of Genesis says that Enoch lived for 365 years, and then God assumed him into heaven. What does this reveal? Going back even before the time of Moses, somehow Enoch was associated with the number 365. We know there are 365 days in the year. And then Enoch is also promoting a calendar of 365 days, which doesn't seem to fit with the Jewish idea from Moses that time is kept based on the moon, the lunar cycle. I'll add here, too, that there's controversy about the time in which Jesus Christ kept the Last Supper during Holy Week, and it might have to do with a Enoch solar calendar in conflict with the Mosaic lunar calendar. That's been suggested by some scholars. Interesting fact number 8. The Book of Enoch believes that the temple in Jerusalem after the Babylonian captivity, so the second temple rebuilt under Nezra and Nehemiah, is not pleasing to God. It's a bad temple. Here's what the Book of Enoch says. The Jews, when they returned from exile, reared up that tower, and they began again to place a table before the tower, but all the bread on it was polluted and not pure, end quote. Here he's referring in a polemic way to the temple as a tower and the altar as a table. And he's saying that the bread of presence that was placed there was polluted. God did not accept it. This seems to point to the theology that we see in the Dead Sea Scrolls of a certain priestly caste who separated themselves from Jerusalem, separated themselves from the temple and the sacrifice, and believed that that temple and those sacrifice and those rituals were not valid. This provides some interesting details into what Judaism looked like before the time of Christ, with its messianic expectation and its rejection of the second temple. Fact number 9 about the Book of Enoch is that it is focused on the Son of Man, who is identified as the chosen one, the anointed, the Messiah, the righteous one. And all the language about the Son of Man and the Messiah sounds like the New Testament description for Jesus Christ, word for word. For example, Book of Enoch says that the Son of Man will sit on a throne of glory. He will judge the living and the dead. He will come down to earth and dwell with the righteous. He will destroy sinners and take down kings and rulers who are against God. He will be a light to the nations. He will be worshiped by all who dwell on the earth. In his name, the righteous will have salvation. Finally, this messianic figure will usher in an era of peace. So all of this sounds just like the New Testament description of Jesus. But what's shocking is that in the Book of Enoch, chapter 71, it is revealed to Enoch when he sees the Son of Man, the angel says, "You are the Son of Man." Enoch. Now, some scholars like R.H. Charles say this is impossible. How could Enoch not even know he's the Son of Man, and then an angel say, "Hey, see that Son of Man? That's you." The scholar R.H. Charles suggests that there's a corruption in the text or paragraphs missing in this section, that he's really seeing the Son of Man, who would be Jesus, and is not identifying Enoch as the Son of Man. And this, of course, kind of makes sense because Enoch is seeing a third person. He doesn't know that he's the Son of Man. And then as the book goes on, it doesn't seem that Enoch is the Son of Man. So something is confused in the manuscript, and I suppose we'll never actually know. The 10th interesting fact about the Book of Enoch is that the underworld, in Hebrew known as Sheol, in Greek Hades, we in English might call it hell, has 4 hollowed out places. And each of these 4 hollowed out places down in the netherworld are assigned to different kinds of people. One of the 4 areas is illuminated and bright. The other 3 are dark. So the first place that is illuminated, according to First Enoch, contains a bright fountain and light. It is a pleasant place. It is paradise. The other 3 places are pretty interesting. They're dark. One is for the worst sinners, totally evil people. The second hollow place is for people who were murdered so that they can testify and bring justice against their murderers. Kind of strange. And then the third hollow place is for sinners who were not grievous sinners, not horrible sinners, but they weren't righteous. They weren't very good people. And so they've got to go to this sort of lesser hell for them. And then we learn elsewhere in the Book of Enoch that below these 4 chambers, down deeper, 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 is a place called Dudael. Dudael. And Dudael means the cauldron of God. This is the pot of fire. And this is where the wicked angels, like the 200 who seduced women and had giant babies, this is where they are cast down by Saint Michael. It is also identified as Gehenna in the New Testament and by 2 Peter as Tartarus, or the deep dungeon in which the Titans were punished to. All right, those are the 10 facts. Before you go, I will be doing another video in which I will go through the 7 names of the 7 archangels as revealed in the Book of Enoch and look at the 7 functions of those 7 archangels. So make sure you do subscribe and hit the bell, and that way you'll get notified when that video comes out. And I haven't forgot the bonus, and that is how tall are the Nephilim giants? Well, according to 1 Enoch chapter 7, it says the Nephilim were, get this, the Nephilim were 3 cubits high. You might ask yourself, what's a cubit? A cubit is about 18 inches. So this means that the Nephilim giants were 450 feet high. Huge. Almost unbelievable to take in. Now, there might be something going on here because Noah's Ark, remember the flood came and destroyed the giants and destroyed the sinners? The ark itself was 300 cubits long. So there might be something going on here by making the giants who are so evil 300 cubits high, maybe some allegory going on here. So those are the fun, interesting, shocking facts about the Book of Enoch. Did I miss anything? Leave a comment below. I love reading your comments. I want to learn from you. I want to engage with you. So please enter into the conversation with your thoughts about this fascinating book, the Book of Enoch. Remember, our Lord Jesus Christ says you're the light of the world and the salt of the earth. So go out there and be salty. Hey, thanks for watching this video on the Book of Enoch. I have a lot more videos on the Book of Enoch and other apocalyptic topics. So please like this video. I would really appreciate it. And please consider subscribing in order to receive the next video on the 7 archangels and more videos on the Book of Enoch. Until then, please check out my latest videos. One of them is on Joe Rogan and his 5 objections against Jesus Christ. And the other one is on my video on the Nephilim giants as demon spirit babies of the fallen angels and women. God bless.